1:16.45. So next to go on this Champion of Champions event, we have the Opel Manta. This, of course, is one of the really tried and trusted rally cars. So away goes. This should be, I think, Mikkola. We get this confirmation. 46 years old. Mikkola first away because he was last on the first test with that time of 2 minutes 22.35. So Mikkola with a lot to do if he's going to improve. He's very nearly 6 seconds adrift of Stig Blomquist. Sounds from the bark of that engine as though Mikkola really is trying. It's a dull grey day here in France, just south of Paris. So none of the problems which Mikkola experienced on the RAC rally, where he came shooting round a corner early in the morning in one of the forest stages in Yorkshire on the last day, when he was actually in the lead and was suddenly dazzled by bright early morning sunshine streaming through his windscreen, completely lost track of where he was and went off the road, damaging the gearbox, and that was his rally over for another year. Mikkola just getting it out of line there. That's going to be costly in terms of time. Grubby circuit now. See the banked track there, which is being used for spectator viewing today. Mikkola drifting this rear-wheel drive Opel into these very tight hairpins. Knocks over a tyre barrier there, bit of work for the stewards and marshals, again using that rear wheel to negotiate that tight hairpin round. He's coming back onto the main circuit now. Not a particularly quick time, judging by the times which Blomquist and Salonen were setting in the Sierra earlier. 2 minutes 27.62. Well, that's standard for the rest of them to beat, but effectively it doesn't look as though it will pose these drivers too much of a problem. Bjorn Waldegard now away. First test, 2 minutes 21.04, which is only enough for 7th place out of the 8. Streams out onto the infield. Classic lines of the Opel Manta. Lovely rally car. No mistaking that Opel sound as he threads his way around the back of the course. All sorts of potential hazards out there. There's very greasy surface on some of those corners, which are catch out the unsuspecting driver if he puts the power on just a little bit too early. Find himself shooting through the trees. Opens it out down there as he flashes away through to the very tight left-hander. Slow part of the track to negotiate over that jump. Waldegard looking good so far. But then again, he hasn't come to the part of the course which caught him out on the first test. Great entertainment this for the French spectators. They love their rallying. And to see 8 world champions all gathered together and competing against each other in an afternoon in a very short space of time, only an hour and 3/4 or so, it's a a terrific attraction. Here goes Waldegard, and he's made a bit of a mess of that particular hairpin again, although not as bad as when he went round first time in the Ford Sierra. This is looks as though he should be inside the time which was set by Mikkola. 2 minutes 27.62 Mikkola's time, left-hand corner of the screen, and Waldegard through easily, almost 8 seconds ahead, 2 minutes 19.63. So up to the line, the third man away. He was 6th in time in the first test, Walter Rohrl. The cool, placid West German. Not to say that he doesn't get roused at times. He has been known to use some choice German language at mechanics when they've got things slightly wrong. Time in the first test when he was second away after Kankkunen, 2 minutes 19.24. Immediately looking to set a quick time as he takes that tight right-hander. Rohrl controlling the car well there. It's obviously part of the track where the car obviously wants to go one way. Rohrl is determined that the car is not going to get its own way, and driving superbly and effectively down that fast stretch of course with that left-hander at the end. Slow section of track there as go away on the elongated loop. Drew that jump, water splash there. Walter Rohrl from West Germany, world champion 1980 and 1982. That jump with a bit of a crash as he landed. 41 years old now, Walter Rohrl. You can tell from the ages of most of these drivers that obviously takes a bit of maturity and a bit of experience to become a truly competitive rally driver. It's rare indeed that somebody makes an impression early in his career. The best so far in the Opel, through that particular part of the hairpin for Rohrl, and out onto the circuit, back round to the finish now. Will he make it inside that 2 minutes 19.63 set by Waldegard? Yes, by 2.52. 2:17.11 for Walter Rohrl. Next up to the line, Biasion, the 1988 world champion. Now, Mickey, of course, well used to driving four-wheel drive Lancia Deltas around the various rallies of the world. See how he gets on in a rear-wheel drive Opel Manta on a very greasy and slippery track here at Monterey in France. Very cold, grey December afternoon. Quite a wind blowing earlier today, although it seems to have dropped now. It's actual underfoot conditions, as it were, which are going to cause problems for the drivers. Slippery, greasy, muddy surface. Negotiates that well and gets the car into a good position to accelerate away down the short straight there. Sets himself up again for the long, fast straight. He can start to open the car up. Left-hander on the way. Going well. Fastest time at that stage. Very jolly little chap, Mickey Biasion. 30 years old, the current world champion from Italy. Made his debut in competition in 1979, which was, of course, the first year of the World Championship. And 9 World Championship wins altogether. 5 of them this year, equaling the record Salonen and Blomquist. along with his Lancia teammates, Mikael Eriksson, the Swede, and Marco Alén, the Finn. It's a very formidable force in rallying with Lancia Delta. Takes it well through there. Looked good at that stage, didn't he? And charging for the line now. He's outside Walter Rohrl's time, 2 minutes 19.51, and only just inside that of Björn Waldegard, 2 minutes 19.63. So Biasion lying in second place at the moment, 2 minutes 19.51. And the fifth man up to the line in this test, Harry Vatanen. Got disappointed with his 2 minutes 17.61 earlier today. Ford Sierra Cosworth. Let's see what he can do now. Harry Vatanen. The Opel Manta. 270 brake horsepower here. And Vatanen well used to Opel cars. He won the Safari Rally in 1983 in an Opel Ascona 400. This is the Opel Manta 400. Controls the car well through there. There's a lot of doubt, of course, about Vatanen, whether he would ever drive again after that very bad crash in Argentina. But he's back at his peak now. Third place, third fastest time at that stage on the course. And if Mitsubishi can produce the machinery reliability to match Vatanen's ability, then Vatanen could be back with a few more wins in his career yet. Still only 36 years old. Had his competition debut back in 1971 and has 10 World Championship wins to his credit. It's a nasty bit of track just to negotiate there. Gets around into these consecutive hairpins. Holds it well. It's a tendency just to lose the back of the car at that stage, but he drifts it round well and accelerates away. Uses all of that 270 brake horsepower to get the car through that stage, in through the gates and onto the track. But he's already outside the time set by Walter Rohrl, and 2 minutes 21.75 is only good enough for fourth place so far out of 5. Juha Kankkunen, Finland, champion of the world 1986 and 1987. Bit of a disappointing year really with Toyota, although gradually the car has got better and better as the season has gone on. And noticeable that Kankkunen is far more relaxed this year than he was during his World Championship year with Lancia, when there were various problems, personality clashes within the team. Although not between the drivers, I must hasten to add, not between Kankkunen and Marco Alén. It's Kankkunen, after he crashed out in the RAC in November, who immediately ran back along the road because he knew that Marco was following him at quite a pace. And he ran back along the road with a red warning triangle to place there to warn Alén of the hazard ahead. It was a sheet of black ice which caught Juha Kankkunen out when he looked as though he was establishing the sort of lead which might actually win him his first event for almost a year. Excellent driver, the youngest of the 8 world champions competing here today, 29 years old, and twice World Rally Champion, 1986 and 1987. The only other man out of the 8 to have won it twice, of course, Walter Rohrl, who did it in 1980 and 1982. And Opel really hits the ground with a bump as it comes off that jump, doesn't it? Let's have a look how he handles. Particularly tricky piece of track there, and here where we've seen so many of the drivers lose time in these hairpins, and Kankkunen getting it a wee bit sideways, too much so, and again not coming through those hairpins cleanly. Cost him fractions of a second. Now 2:17.11, he's inside of that. Get the power on quickly enough, he's going to be just outside. 2 minutes 17.93, good enough for second place. So that's 6 men gone, and the quickest time still Walter Rohrl, who was third away, 2 minutes 17.11. Kankkunen 2 minutes 17.93. Now Timo Salonen. Salonen, who was world champion in 1985. When he was driving for Peugeot 205. And for most, if not all of his rally career, I think he's used four-wheel drive, so this rear-wheel drive Opel could be a different experience for him. Slides the car around there where the old leaves have dropped onto part of the inside of the track, and away he goes, heading for the fastest part of the circuit. He's got a short straight here. And away he goes before this left-hander. Took that brilliantly. Excellent piece of driving, and fastest on this test at that halfway point. Salonen, the bespectacled Finn, drove for Mazda in the World Championship this year. We haven't seen him as much as we hoped in 1988. But they have had problems with the car. But Salonen remains as quick as any driver in the world these days. Enjoys his driving. Now then, sets himself up for these two tight hairpins, and again, just fractions of a second being lost there because the car is not quite in the right position to take the second hairpin after coming out of the first. So he slides into this section of the track, which is back on the main circuit, looking for 2 minutes 17.11. He's not going to be that far away. 17.46 is enough for second place. So up to the line now comes the man who was quickest in the first test in the Ford Sierra, as we expected, driving his own World Championship car, Stig Blomquist. Stig Blomquist, the Swede who was World Rally Champion in 1984. That was 20 years after making his World Championship debut. So on the first test he set a very quick time, 2 minutes 15.99, which was half a second quicker than Timo Salonen. And Stig Blomquist would be very happy to be half a second quicker than Timo Salonen again, because that would put him into the lead. Held at the moment by Walter Rohrl on this test. Once Blomquist has gone through this stage, then the times of the drivers will be added together, and the 4 drivers with the best time go into the semi-final. So at the moment, it looks as though, provided that Blomquist does anything like, and he's not far off at the halfway stage there, just 0.62 off the quickest time of the day. Then he should qualify reasonably comfortably. Still a very talented driver, although his 1988 season has not been up to his usual very high standard. Very popular driver all the way around the world. And the type of man who really would take to this event. Champion of champions, the chance to prove just who is the best of the 8 world champions that have been in the 10 years that the championship has been in operation. Into the hairpin now for Blomquist. And that really is proving to be quite a tricky part of the circuit. But he's gone well, 2 minutes 12 as he comes through the gate, so he won't be too far away, although he's slithering down that part of the track, and 2 minutes 19.19, good enough for 4th place, so that should see him through to the qualifying time for the semi-final. So we'll wait for the statisticians just to do their arithmetic, if we can see if we can add up, see who was quickly in our heads and see who just might be out and who therefore will not be taking part in the semi-final, which will be the Audi Quattro. Certainly it looks as though Blomquist, you see him here on this replay, qualified. He 2 minutes 19.19 and 2 minutes 15.99. Salonen 2 minutes 17.46 and 2 minutes 16.45. Kankkunen 2 minutes 17.93 and 2 minutes 17.07. And Rohrl 2 minutes 17.11 and 2 minutes 19.24. So we're just waiting for confirmation of who will take the wheel in the semi-final with the Audi Quattros. The Audi Quattro, there are the confirmation of the times set in that second test. So it looks as though the top 4 will qualify with their times added from the first test, and the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th men, which include the 1988 world champion, will have missed out. We're still waiting for confirmation of the times once they're added together.